Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Now today, I'm going to be talking about week 3 of the Overwatch League Season 5 for the kickoff clash. This week was the introduction of the APAC region, so we got to see some APAC matches, and it looks pretty competitive like it was last season. So, let's have a look at at this week's matches, and next we'll have a look at week 4. These are all the matches which happened in week 3, so this week. So the East, we start off with the Philadelphia Fusion being at the Shanghai Dragons 3-0. I remember there was someone in my comment section about the Philadelphia Fusion which mentioned that MN3 and Zez can definitely play together. And if you're watching this, you are completely right. Those two did a fantastic job together. They did really, really well. Circuit Royale was basically it was very, very quick. I mean, they full held the Shanghai Dragons on Circuit Royale, and Kings Row was very, very close. And Zest did get MVP. I think he's definitely a contender for Rookie of the Year. Maybe alongside maybe Proper, maybe Sam as well, because he did really, really well during this week. I'm trying to think of maybe some of the people, maybe even MN3. There's also other ones as well. Maybe Reiner. Oh no, Reiner might be a long shot. But obviously there are a lot of players which you can say that definitely are Rookie of the Year contenders. But the Shanghai Dragons didn't really have a good time in this week. Obviously, you see that they also won against the Hangzhou Spark very close. The Guangzhou Charge versus the LA Valiant. This was a win for the Guangzhou Charge, with Faraway 1987 being MVP. LA Valiant did look a lot better though than last season, I must say that. So that's a massive improvement. I mean, see, they legit went to went to 5 map games twice. So this is definitely a massive improvement for the Valiant. Even though they've currently lost all their 3 matches. This is a massive improvement looking for this team. So, which I'm really excited for. Hopefully, I get to obviously watch them more in the APAC region, and I get to obviously look at how like they play and everything. But Faraway 1987, the most recent the most recent out of player, did get MVP for the team. Finally, the leader Hangzhou Spark versus the Seoul Dynasty, and I mean, I didn't really predict it, but I mean, the Spark has actually surprised me a lot. I'll be honest with that. They did win against the Seoul Dynasty 3-1. Alpha Yi, or Alpha Yi, I don't know how you say his name. He is the MVP for this match. They basically crushed the Seoul Dynasty on New Queen Street. Dorado went 3-1 to the Dynasty, 3-2 for Hangzhou Spark, and Ilios was 2-1 for the Spark as well, which caused them to win 3-1. Very, very interesting. I mean, I really thought that the Dynasty were definitely championship contenders. They looked a bit iffy. They look a bit all over the place, I'll be honest. But obviously, they've only played I feel like 2 matches or 3 matches. Is it? So 3 matches. Well, yeah, 3 matches. They played a total of 3 matches, and they've been a bit all over the place um, uh, during this beginning of the season for them. But it's kind of expected. I mean, this is like the first time playing. This is week 3 for them. Well, actually, it's week 1 for them, but soon to be week 2 for them in week 4. So we just have to wait to see how they go in the rest of the season. So now move on to the West. We got the Washington Justice. Versus the Paris Eternal. That went 3-1 to the Washington Justice. I don't know what else. I mean, Decay and Happy, they have been popping off as a DPS duo. They look really, really good, which I'm excited about. Paris Eternal needs a lot more changes. I mean, I'm not a big fan of this coaching staff. With J-Mac and Mobugi, I still don't know how to say his name, but I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. They just look all over the place. I mean, the players also look a bit all over the place as well. The Justice crushed the Eternal Lee Chung Tower. It was a very close game in Kings Road, but the Justice won 5-4. Then Gibraltar was flipped over for the Eternal 3-2, and the Justice closing out at Colossio 85.31 meters to Eternal's 27.75 meters. So the Justice, I mean, they look consistent sometimes, but sometimes as we get to very, very soon to the very end, they look a bit weird and a bit iffy. The NYXL versus the Florida Mayhem, a 3-0 victory for the Florida Mayhem. I mean, NYXL do not look good. I just want to say that. They recently added Jester as their coach. I don't know when they added. Okay, looks like they added them maybe after this game or maybe before this game. Nothing's changed. I'll be honest. Uh, 2-0 for the Mayhem on Ilios and Eichenwald, and 5-4 for the Mayhem still winning as someone did get MVP. I forgot about actually to mention that the Justice first tournament match, Decay got MVP. This one was someone who got MVP. Their tank player who looked really good. Who maybe might be contender, might be a dark horse maybe for Rookie of the Year. We just have to wait and see there. The Dallas Fuel versus the Toronto Defiant, 3-0 for the Dallas Fuel. Chayo getting the MVP. I think this is his first MVP, which is really cool to see. But I mean the Defiant, definitely a mid-pack team. 2-0 for Oasis for the Fuel, 3-2 on King's Road for the Fuel, and 1-0 on Circuit Royale for the Fuel. I mean, full hold of Circuit Royale, crush him on Oasis. King's Road was pretty close though, but yeah, I don't know what else to say. Just Dallas Fuel just doing Dallas Fuel things. They have finally picked up the pace, and now they are definitely contenders. For now, let's move on to the East, and we have the Guangzhou Charge versus the Chengdu Hunters. This is the first time we've seen the Chengdu Hunters, and it was a 3-0 victory to start off the game, start off the season for the Chengdu Hunters. A very, very close first map on Colosio, only 1 meter separating the two teams, 65.97 to for the Charge, to the Hunters 65.98. And then Dorado and King's Road was just a smashing, basically a blood. It was very dominant, we'll say that. 3-0 on Dorado and King's Road for the Chengdu Hunters, so very, very easy. The Hunters also gained their revenge on Fireway 1987, who obviously has joined the team on the Charge. And Jinmu did get MVP for the season. They do look a lot weak though, a lot more weak compared to last season. So that's not a good sign for if you're a Hunters fan. 3-2, actually some very, very close maps here. So for the Hangzhou Spark versus the Shanghai Dragons, it was a 3-2 victory for the Shanghai Dragons. It went all over the place. I mean, it looked like that the Spark looked really good. There was also times that the Dragons looked really, really good, but it was Lip closing out as the MVP. So Colosio was a win for the Spark, 92.48 compared to Dragons 84.45. Gibraltar went to the Dragons 3-2. Eichenwald also went to the Dragons 2-1. Then with Lijiang Tower, that went to the Spark 2-1. And to close it out on map 5, it was New Queen Street, 55.11 for the Spark, while for the Dragons it was 119 for the Dragons. I think completing the map, I think that's how long the length is on the map. I might be completely wrong, but I think I remember maybe it's like 120 something. I don't know, but they were very, very close to finishing. Seoul Dynasty versus the Valiant. I was very surprised that the Valiant was this competitive against the Seoul Dynasty. I am incredibly impressed by them. Just like I said, they looked a lot better compared to last season, and this is showing it. I mean, they won one map, I think. They've already won. They've already won 6 maps, I think. Yeah, 6 maps. They've already won 6 maps, which is a massive improvement compared to last season. But the Seoul Dynasty did get the win, continuing their losing streak. I think they're now 0-33, if I remember correctly. So they still haven't got to the win, but I think they're definitely their win is coming. Definitely, it will be coming very, very soon. But Colossia, that went to the Valiant, 72.52 to the Dynasty's 51.31. Circle Royale went to the Dynasty 3-2. Valiant got King's Road 3-0. Seoul responded and got Lijiang Tower 2-0, and they finished it off on New Queen Street 124.90 compared to the Valiant's 42.33 meters. Profit MVP like always. For the West region, we got the Houston Outlaws versus the London Spitfire, and it was pretty convincing, I guess you can say. I mean, last map wasn't that convincing. I mean, it was a very close map, but I guess if you see this 3-0, pretty convincing. So Outlaws, they won Ilios 2-0, Eichenwald 3-1, and Circuit Royale 4-3. Lastro did get MVP of the match, and I mean, the Outlaws do look really good. Bit inconsistent sometimes, but they do have a very aggressive play style. But either way, they do look really, really good now. Spitfire, yeah, they might have won against the Uprising, but and the Titans as well, but I don't know if they're going to continue that. We just have to wait and see, though. This is the match, I guess, the match that everyone was looking at. The LA Gladiators versus the San Francisco Shock. And I think I also mentioned this match as well as the match to look out for, and it definitely delivered. We had a reverse sweep once again. The Gladiators choking on the of completing their match. It's crazy. So the Gladiators won the first two maps on Oasis and Midtown 2-1 and 3-2. Then the San Francisco Shock answered and they won the next three maps. Rue 66 3-2, Closio 87.42 compared to Gladiators 37.94, and Lijiang Tower 2-1. Finn did get MVP, another Rookie of the Year contender. I mean, they still haven't lost a map. So they haven't lost a map. They still haven't lost a match yet, and it definitely shows how dominant they are with some of the O2 Blast players coming up, and being in part of the roster. I mean, I think they also talked about that Sam filled in Lijiang Tower thing on like the last map. Fucking just reverse swept it, completed it. So that is yeah, that's amazing. Good job on the Shock. Toronto Defiant versus the Boston Uprising. It was a kind of a reverse sweep, not really. I mean, the Toronto Defiant won against the Boston Uprising 3-1. The Boston Uprising won against them on the first map at Lijiang Tower 2-0, but it was still pretty close. But the Defiant did get the win at the very end. Hopper was MVP, Eichenwald was 2-1, Gerardo was 3-1, and New Queen Street was 67.37 compared to the Uprising 66.23. So pretty close there for the push mode, which I'll be honest, push mode, I think it's definitely better than 2CP. That's just, in my opinion, though, and I think everyone can agree with me on that. But I mean, there's also been rumors that the Uprising may release Marvel and Striker, and that is the case. The Uprising will look a lot worse. Maybe like down to like Titan, or not Titans. Maybe like down to like Spitfire level, which is worrying if you're an Uprising fan. For the last one, so the East, so last matches for the East, we got the Philadelphia Fusion versus Guangzhou Charge, 3-0, very easy. I mean, I'm not surprised there. Zez got MVP. I'm not even going to read out the scores because of how easy it was. It was just very dominant, we'll say that. 3-0 as well for the Seoul Dynasty against the Chengdu Hunters. This was kind of just the... It definitely showed the Hunters' weakness, I guess you can say. I mean, without their amazing players. I mean, who they got there? I can't remember who they got in their main team. That's how forgettable I am. They have so they have Dalsey. I think I say his name. Dalsey. So they have Dalsey, and obviously they have one coach, which is a massive issue. Obviously, having one coach is big. I mean, it changes everything about the scene. I mean, luckily it's a small roster, which is alright, but still, it's not good enough. And then the Hangzhou Spark versus the LA Valiant. I mean, I did say that Valiant have looked a lot better this season, but the Spark, I mean, they look pretty decent, I must say. Alpha was again MVP, so I mean, maybe watch out for him. He might be a dark horse. He's probably flying underneath people's radars. I mean, he flew under my radar. I'll be honest. I didn't know how well he's gonna go. I don't know. Like, I think he plays Hitscan. I can't remember. Does he play Hitscan? No. Oh no, he plays Projectile. Oh crap. Whatever. And then for the West, we got the Atlanta Reign versus the Vancouver Titans. That was a 3-0 victory for the Atlanta Reign. Not even gonna read them out. OG was MVP. Very easy, convincing win. Then the Dallas Fuel versus the Paris Eternal, 3-0 as well. Pretty close to Circuit Royale, it was 5-4. But the Fuel does end up with a win. Hanbin was MVP. And finally, the Boston Uprising versus the Washington Justice. This is what I meant about them being a bit inconsistent. I mean, they full held them a New Queen Street. Well, I swear New Queen Street was a push map. I think it is. I generally think it is. Maybe I'm just stupid. I think it is. Yeah, it isn't. Yeah. I don't know what the hell I guess it means like one checkpoint. I don't know what the hell that means, but whatever. Either way, the Uprising won against the Justice, and Valentine was MVP. Let's have a look at week 4 matches. So here are all the matches for this week. And so we have the Philadelphia Fusion versus the Seoul Dynasty, the Chengdu Hunters versus the Hangzhou Spark, and the Shanghai Dragons versus the Guangzhou Charge on May 26th. May 27th, my birthday. Well, look at that. Chengdu Hunters versus the Philadelphia Fusion, Guangzhou Charge versus the Seoul Dynasty, and the Shanghai Dragons versus the LA Valiant. Then also on May 27th still, the LA Gladiators versus the London Spitfire, the NYXL versus the Toronto Defiant, and the Vancouver Titans versus the SF Shock. May 28th, we got the Hangzhou Spark versus the Guangzhou Charge, Dragons versus Hunters, and Valiant versus Fusion. May 28th, we have the Atlanta Reign versus the Spitfire, Eternal versus Outlaws, and Mayhem versus the Justice. And on May 29th, we got the Dynasty versus the Dragons, Hunters versus Valiant, and Fusion versus Spark. And finally, only 2 matches assigned for the West region on May 29th, Uprising versus Fuel, and the Gladiators versus the Reign. So the Gladiators and Reign match that'll be closing out the qualifiers for the kickoff clash, and it's been some very interesting moves. Let's have a look at them. So as you can tell right here, the green means that they have advanced to the main event in kickoff clash. The yellow means they have been eliminated. So the Shock and the Fuel are in the kickoff clash tournament for the West region. The Atlanta Reign might be in it. The Mayhem, Outlaws, Justice, Toronto, and Gladiators are currently in the top 8. The first 2 teams in 9th and 10th is the Spitfire and the Uprising. The NYXL, Titans, and the Eternal are out of the kickoff clash, so they won't be able to attend the tournament. And let's just have a look at let's just quickly have a look at the tournament. So 7th so from 3rd through 8th, you will get 1 league point, while in the East, in the second place will get 2 points, and first place will get 3 points. For the West and for the East, it will be 3rd through 4th will get 1 point, second will get 2 points, and first will get 3 points. So it's not like last year where Dallasville Kickoff Clash tournament. That's interesting. Oh, okay, so it's in. Okay, so it'll be actually in in a venue, which is pretty nice. That's cool. But either way, I don't know how. Okay, so I guess the East will just be online and the West will be offline, which would be cool. But so it wasn't like last year where it was just I think it was like the top 4 who only got league points. Now it is everyone who advances from the kickoff clash. They'll be they will get 1 league point either way. So the West matches will be played at Esports Stadium, Arlington, and the East matches locations we don't know where that's going to be. So that's I think that's all that's done for the West. For the East, the Philadelphia Fusion is currently 2-0. They have not lost a single match. The Hangzhou Spark and the Seoul Dynasty are currently 2-1, and then the Chengdu Hunters and Shanghai Dragons 1-0. The Guangzhou Charge are 1-2, and the Valiant currently 0-3, continuing their losing streak. So that's really about it for me. These are obviously the matches for next week. I'm sorry that I can't fill them all in. Yeah, I can't really. I'm sorry. But those are going to be the matches for this week, and I get to talk about them next week. So that's really about it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys all next time in the next one. Goodbye.